We got the August trade deficit numbers out early this morning, and we had a pretty bad deficit in July. It was initially reported as 63.6 billion, and that was slightly revised downward to 63.4 billion. So a little bit less red ink was spilled in July than what was originally estimated. Now, the consensus for August was 66.5 billion, and we ended up far exceeding that. We had a $67.1 billion trade deficit in August. That was the largest trade deficit that we've had in 14 years. And it's the second worst trade deficit in the history of the country. But more important than that is if you just look at the merchandise deficit, which is goods, right? Manufactured goods. There, the deficit exploded to 83.9 billion. That is an all-time record high. So the United States has never lost more money in goods trade in 1 month than it lost in the month of August. And personally, again, I don't think the record's going to stand. I think we're going to break that record. And in fact, I think before the end of Trump's term, we will end up printing the largest total trade deficit in the history of the country because our surplus in services is really starting to shrink. But the point here I really want to make is Trump campaigned on making America great again, primarily by reversing our position on trade. Trump said we were losing on trade. We had lousy trade deals negotiated by incompetent leaders who sold our country out, and that's why it was an economic wasteland. He was going to make America great again by renegotiating these trade deals and turning these deficits into surpluses. We were going to go from losing on trade to winning on trade. In fact, Trump said that we were going to win so much that we were going to get tired of winning because it would be so boring, right? These were the promises that Trump made. And it was going to be the manufacturing renaissance that would lead the turnaround in our balance of trade. But the reality speaks for itself. We have never had bigger trade deficits than the ones that we have under Trump. So if we were losing under Obama, we're losing even bigger under Trump. In fact, we're losing bigger than we've ever lost in the history of the Republic. Yet Donald Trump is still campaigning as if he had kept that promise, as if he had actually made America great and restored our lost manufacturing might. He hasn't even come close to doing that. Now, I know there are a lot of people that are trying to say, well, this is all because of COVID. Well, first of all, the trade balance was deteriorating before COVID, right? So we were getting bigger and bigger trade deficits even before COVID, right? Trump's tariffs were not doing anything to reduce our deficits. All they were doing is increasing taxes on American consumers who were buying imported goods, but the tariffs themselves did nothing to improve our overall trade balance, contrary to what the president was boasting. But to try to say that the reason that we're running bigger deficits is because of COVID, the whole world has got COVID, right? COVID is not made in America, like so many other things that are not made in America. Neither is COVID, right? COVID was made in China, right? We imported it like everything else. But the fact of the matter is, COVID should be impacting everybody. If we're having bigger deficits, by definition, other countries that are also dealing with COVID have larger surpluses because we can't import what some other country doesn't export. So why would COVID be making America's deficits bigger while it's making our trading partners' surpluses larger? Clearly, COVID's not nothing to do with it, right? These trends were going to continue with or without COVID. COVID is just a convenient scapegoat for people to deny reality. And that reality is we have much bigger budget deficits and we have much bigger trade deficits. So Trump has failed to deliver on either of those promises.